I was always like drawing comics as a kid. I was really into like storytelling through imagery, and animation just became like the evolution of that. When I went to college and I started learning about how these television productions that I grew up on were created, I guess got really fascinated with the process of it all, and I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. It was just the logical conclusion that eventually I was going to come up with my own TV show, I guess. The show is like a beacon in terms of indie success. The show is a show that I believe in very strongly. I would describe myself not as the show's creator, but instead as like its first fan. I really think it's gonna be like one of the best shows of all time, and I feel so strongly about that I'm trying to make sure it happens in the way I see it. At this current stage, it's pretty difficult nowadays when you're online to get virality. You kind of need to have a finished product, but to get a finished product, you kind of need to get the virality first to show that you can get the attention for the idea. And we're kind of messing with that push and pull right now, trying to figure out, okay, what's the point where we can show enough of this project that people will rally behind it. But the cool part is when you marry yourself to the process, every step matters, whether or not it ends up making it onto the final copy. Partly thematic and partly aesthetic. Because it's a more adult show, people have this tendency to put animation in a box. In Western culture, we say that cartoons are for kids, and I've always known that's not true. I know that as a medium, it's very versatile. So for this project, live action footage is my way of grounding the characters in a real setting and showing that just because they're cartoons doesn't mean that their stories or their problems are any less real. Developed a lot of character and concept art for this project so far. My passion is in storyboarding and character design, so we have a lot of character turnarounds which show the characters and how you draw them at different angles based on how they appear in the shot. We have character sheets which show different poses and different outfits and looks. We've developed a ton of rough R&D showing what it's going to look like when these characters appear over live action footage, and in general we've created just a ton of promotional artwork that's meant to get this style and these characters in front of as many eyes that might be interested in the show as possible. I'm really confident in our ability to engage audiences over 6 seasons because I know how crazy the show is going to get. I know that the initial pitch for this show, birds playing punk rock music, is enticing, and it would be interesting to see that premise portrayed in multiple different lights at multiple different levels of success for the band. So knowing where we're starting with the band being relatively unknown and then building up to however successful we want them to be gives us a lot of range in terms of what kind of situations we can put them in. Each season can kind of be a different era of the band's success, which is why I'm honestly more excited for season 6 maybe than I even am for the pilot film. I relate a little bit to every single bird in this show. They all have a little part of my own lived experience, or at least people close to me and their lived experiences. Personally for me, I'll admit that the robin is a little bit of a self-insert character, a would-be leader rock star who wants so bad to be a celebrity but doesn't even know if he believes in himself enough to fill that role. And his arc as he steps into the leadership role is hopefully going to feel pretty parallel to mine as I take the lead with making this project a reality.